why there is a new era that, for some people, actually for every one of us, it doesn't matter if you are, somebody renting, somebody owning a house, somebody owning stocks or owning bonds or owning mutual funds. It doesn't matter, just across the board, in the economy, as we get into the next few months of this remainder of the year, people are going to be impacted one way or another. But if you remember, since 2020, all right, since 2020, and specifically in 2021, the Federal Reserve, as the U.S. central bank, has been doing something to kind of maintain the economy breathing, especially back in 2020. But now it's time to stop the music. But this is something that a lot of people are not even talking about, but it has a lot to do with us holding AMC. Why? Because it's going to affect even more the people on the other side that are preventing the share price here from literally blasting to the roof. And I'm talking about what we call the multi-trillion-dollar balance sheet of the Federal Reserve. We are talking about a $9 trillion balance sheet. Since March, the Federal Reserve has been holding its balance sheet steady at nearly $9 trillion by reinvesting proceeds of maturing securities. But now they are actually aggressively trying to reduce that money. And it starts on a monthly basis, because after a 3-month run-up beginning in September, the Fed said it will allow a maximum of $95 billion to roll off its portfolio without reinvestment each month. This will consist of $60 billion of treasuries and $36 billion of mortgage-backed securities. When the cap, the Fed will allow treasury bills to run off its portfolio, kind of, let that go away. And at that pace, this is the most interesting part. The quantitative tightening program, or the QT program, could reduce the Fed's balance sheet by over $1 trillion a year. Folks, $1,000 billion. $1,000 billion a year that the Federal Reserve is going to kind of withdraw from the economy. It's like it's going to suck air out of everybody that was kind of, attached or breathing depending on this money, because so far people are not really feeling the effects of it, all right, because it's still there. But we're going to be shifting to a new environment where, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter where you are in the social ladder, you are going to be impacted, because money is going to be a lot more expensive. Debt is going to be a lot more expensive to sustain. But with this $1,000 billion to be removed by the Federal Reserve each year from the economy, all of these companies, these big companies, especially some of the hedge funds that are used to betting a lot on this kind of free money in order to go heavy into some of these plays in the market, in stocks like AMC and GameStop and others, it is now going to end. So we will not likely get the results on the impact of this removal, of this type of money in the next coming months. But if by the end of this year, things have not shifted yet, by shift, I mean AMC squeezing as we expect it to do, definitely as the Fed starts this every single month and stick to it, man, explain to me how short sellers are going to be still being able to stop the price from soaring, because nobody is selling. All right, nobody is selling, especially if you add to the mix the fact that some economists, big time economists in the US, are already thinking that inflation might be falling soon. So if inflation falls soon and we have more clarity on what the Federal Reserve is going to do, then the market have no risk to remain down for the latter part of this year, because these two are the main risks that people are facing. So if those two are gone and people continue to be confident into putting the money to work even in the midst of recession or signs of recession, then it's going to be another bull run in the market. And within another bull run in the market, there is no place for short sellers. There's just no place for short sellers. And that is exactly what we want.